mean, I kind of don't understand book groups. I mean, here I'm in this series, and it seems so weird because when I read a book, it seems to be like a really kind of private experience. The things that you really like about it, or the things that you really relate to, aren't things that I really want to share in front of a whole bunch of people, or I could even articulate to a whole bunch of people. So I don't really know. I mean, I guess it's interesting to hear what other people, how they respond to something that you have liked, if they feel the same way or differently. I lived in New York at the time, and I think Annie was interested in having somebody who really lived in America and who would have the experience of coming to Scotland and not being that familiar with what was going on here. So she really wanted an American. So the casting took place in New York.
Kenny was a climber. I was a climber. I think that was it. She got to know me in Glasgow and got to know my character. She used me in another production as a one-line wonder, and apparently a year later we met up, had a coffee, and she mentioned that she'd been writing about a character that was big like me, that was a climber who had an accident, and I had a bad accident, but I walked after it. And she developed this character that basically never walked again after the accident. I apparently said at the time that I thought that sounded a load of rubbish.
It wasn't like anything that you would read for in America. The first thing literally was that there had been some problem with the emailing of the script, or the way that the computer in America read the script. So a lot of the punctuation was wrong and so things where it was written in Scottish like did nae, N-A-E, I thought that was a mistake. There was just a lot that I was thinking like, wow, like I can't quite figure out exactly like what word is there. I mean, it was just sort of very foreign right away. And also the whole theme of it was funny, but it wasn't funny. And when you're used to either half-hour sitcom or one-hour drama, there's not a whole lot in the middle of that in America. So it seemed like a really unique project.
And I was doing my own thing at the time. I used to cut down trees, of all things. And I'll never forget cutting down a tree, getting a poke in the back, and there was Annie with a script going, "I've got something for you." And I remember saying, what bit do I say? Looking for the line, and she went, no, read it. And I started to read the book group, and then realised Kenny is so like me all the way and speak, and just past experiences, a lot of stealing involved. And that was it, you know, first break.
Annie Griffin has just got some labyrinth type brain that works in a very different way to many other people, and her lateral thinking and her dark thinking and her weirdness that comes out in the page, that's actually, when you first read it, you're not sure whether this is funny or not, because some of it's quite sad and tragic and odd and twisted, and so I was intrigued by it, very intrigued and very excited by it, and knew that it was something that I hadn't come across before, and also the end result, you know, is that I think it's something that really stands out on British television today, because there just isn't anything else like it.
I thought it was really new and groundbreaking, kind of funny, because it's after all, it's a book group, and you think, oh, how's that going to be funny, or what will make this work? But the dynamics of the characters interacting together, the way Annie's written it, is funny. And the minute I read it, I just thought, I want to be in. I think it's fantastic. I don't think I've ever read a script where I thought that.
I was so excited. It seemed like the most exciting thing that could ever happen. Because as an actor anyway, you're just sitting around, you get so excited by any job you get ever. It's a thrilling thing to get a call that you have a job, and the fact that I was coming to Scotland was really exciting and romantic.
I mean, the thing that was really intense about our day's filming was that there would be about 7, 8 of us in the room forming the book group for the entire working day. Now, that could have been a complete nightmare, but it wasn't. It was difficult, but it was made easier because, you know, all the characters were fantastic. Not just the characters, but the actors playing the characters were really good people to sort of hang out with.
When we first got together, obviously in general it's quite strange because you don't know these people. And I think the first week we were here, we really bonded and we really became a group. And that was really nice, really, really nice. And also what's funny is that every actor as a person really, everyone really has their own personality. So I guess it was, you know, one of those sink or swim situations. We swam, so that's good.
Sometimes, very often, you don't rehearse until you arrive on the set that day, and you just have a few minutes before you start filming to work out with the other actor what it is that you're going to do, or to talk with the director about motivations or what the scene, what their idea of the scene is. I mean, it all happens right before you do it.
We had a rehearsal period beforehand though, because before we shot the first episode, we had, I think it was another week or 2 weeks to improvise together and come up with the characters and develop the characters. And so just being allowed to do that, you know, you get to know each other better, and I think it shows in the work that comes out at the end rather than, we couldn't basically have done it if we just turned up on day one and started filming it. It wouldn't have been possible to do that.
This way you really developed relationships with the other actors, and you developed just sort of like time to think about it, about each scene, a lot of time to think about each scene before it happened. I think that is part of the reason why it's something I'm proud of, is because I think a lot of the actors had time to consider what it was that we were going to do, and the choices we made were more deliberate and came from a lot of thought, as opposed to just what happened that was lucky at the last minute, you know, which is sometimes how it can be.
Half that job of shooting the book group was learning what went on in a film studio or on location, what happened with the camera and whose job was what and what they did. And then the rest of the time was working out how the hell to actually do my job. So how I got away with it, I do not know. God bless the editor, I say.
Probably for me the best moment was during rehearsal actually, where I got the feeling like, yeah, I know which way I'm going, getting, you know, you get the feeling of, okay, I'm starting to get this character. And one thing I loved that in book group was that I'm completely in love with Kenny. I loved being in love with Kenny.
To be honest, I was absolutely terrified. And I chose till well through the rehearsals, probably well into the shoot, to actually reveal, Christ, I've never done this before. I had to stay quiet, and there was a regret that, to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it because I was so scared.
I think the thing that I really related to the most was someone who's trying to come off as, you know, really smart, as an impressive thing. And that's probably the first thing I related to, because I thought, I do that all the time. I'll try to impress people with how smart I sound about something. And I mean, Claire is really sympathetic, and it's interesting to play a character that nobody likes. There's humor in that, and there's a lot of pathos as well, you feel.
I see her as a girl who continually wants to be like her best friend, doesn't have very much confidence, so she's always looking to her best friend.
She's extremely obsessed with herself. He has no idea which direction. She can't just be. You know, she has to have a goal, and then she'll absolutely love it or she'll absolutely hate it. And obviously she is an extremely manipulative bitch.
She's never satisfied, and she isn't happy in her relationship with Lars, the Swedish footballer, and she thinks you've got it all. And so I spent my time with thinking about Durka as pretty, you know, sad. She's just got I feel sorry for her in a sweet way. She's not she's just not a bad person. She's just not terribly happy in her own life, which all the people in the book group, I think, have that same element, but hers tends to be quieter. And
I think she tries. Obviously, she's extremely self-obsessed, but I do think she really tries with people. I really don't think she makes these nasty comments on purpose.